Good morning. I just want to be in here sharing with you a little bit of what my experience as a tortured person has been for me to deal with the consequences of torture. I was disappeared for about 2 months where I have been with electric shocks, waterboarding, to the point that today I still scared to take a shower. Then a lot of you feel probably pretty good when the water runs in your face. Not for me. Still not. Still remember very fresh, and this has been 28 years ago. Wasn't yesterday, but I still very fresh in my mind every day. I was very afraid with my children when they were running to the water, and I am on the border looking to them, swimming, very scared, knowing that probably I have to jump to take them out. And I will die with them because I do not know even how to swim. But I am afraid of water. And I always very concerned when I read on the paper, and it's just waterboarding. Make it believe that you are drowning. No, you are drowning. They don't make you believe. And that's something that is for the rest of your life. As of today, after 28 years, I am still dealing with all these consequences. The electric shocks, then they provide you, then leave you marks to all your body. Today, I am still bearing those marks. And not only that, because those marks, pain on the body is something that leave you one day or another. But the one in your mind and your heart, the knowing that human beings are doing those type of things. Those are things that are very difficult to erase. What they do? Then they have Guantanamo. Then they have prisoners all over the world. Then they have torture cells all over the world. That is a sin, and we have to stop it. And I am here to ask you, please, continue with your work to stop this nonsense. Thank you very much.
Rob Crawford, and I'm a facilitator for the Washington State Religious Campaign Against Torture. We're affiliated with the National Religious Campaign Against Torture, and we believe that torture violates basic human dignity that all religions honor. We believe that torture contradicts our nation's most cherished ideals, and we believe that torture is against national and international law. Our message is simple. Torture is always wrong, and there can be no exceptions. Our goal is to change current U.S. government policy to prohibit without exception all U.S.-sponsored torture and cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment of detainees.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tom Ewell, and I'm a member of the Religious Society of Friends, Quaker, from the town of Clinton on Whidbey Island. And I'm a member of the Washington State Religious Campaign Against Torture. I want to speak first on behalf of my now deceased longtime friend and mentor, a man named Charles Arbuthnot, who was a chaplain in the forces invading Italy in World War II. Charles was one of the few chaplains in his division who survived that invasion, and he went on to represent the World Council of Churches in the formulation of the Geneva Conventions that made torture illegal under international law. Just before he died, the revelations of the use of torture at Abu Ghraib brought him much sadness and anger. All during the war, he told me one of the most common issues that came up with the soldiers in the field was whether we could torture our prisoners to get vital information. Time and again, we had to tell them, we Americans are better than that our code of ethics that included humane treatment of people and human decency were what made this war worth fighting for. If we engaged in the brutality of torture, we were no better than those we were fighting against.
A banner hangs outside the church. Blessed are the peacemakers. And so it seemed natural to add a new banner. Torture is a moral issue. And as I reflect on the meeting where that decision was made, it was such a simple decision and there was so little discussion. Of course we would do this.
So I speak this morning as the Regional Director for the Reform Movement, as a member of Rabbis for Human Rights North America. Therefore, torture is always wrong, no matter the justification. As an American and as a Jew, I do not want anyone tortured in my name. Information obtained in this manner is often unreliable and may not be admissible as evidence in court. The practice creates ill will toward the United States and could make our soldiers less safe if they are captured. Rabbi Mark Pelevin of our Religious Action Center, Putting Religious Ideals into Practice, states, the Jewish tradition teaches us that a spark of the divine exists within each individual. It is in that spirit that we have long opposed the physical or mental torture of any individual, for to do so defiles God's creation. As people of faith, we understand that security and human dignity are not mutually exclusive, and we firmly believe that to be a beacon of justice to the world, our nation cannot continue to engage in practices that in many cases have proven to be torture by another name. Rabbi Eric Yaffe, the leader of the Reform Movement, has also stated, the torture of prisoners or issues of what is the appropriate conduct of soldiers are issues that should have special resonance for Jews, given our experience in the 20th century. We have a special obligation to speak out on these issues. If we don't, shame on us.
I think an argument that's advanced sometimes on behalf of torture is that they, the other side, those people made us do it by their torture or by whatever they're doing. My own reading of the Hebrew and the Greek Christian scriptures is that each of us has to decide what we are going to do. We can never advance as an argument that they made us, they made me do this. The prophet Ezekiel says each person is judged for what they do. It's impossible to read the Sermon on the Mount and not realize that it's completely incompatible with any kind of torture.
We are gathered here because as a nation we've crossed a line of evil that we had pledged we would never cross. Led by President Bush and descending through the military and intelligence agencies of our government, our national leadership is guilty of war crimes and the torture and abuse of prisoners and innocents. And our media is guilty of covering up those crimes through the sin of omission. And our people are guilty of supporting a government, both Democrats and Republicans, that knowingly continue policies that are internationally unlawful and domestically treasonous. Torture is a crime against humanity. It destroys both those who are tortured and those who inflict the torture. Torture, the willed infliction of severe pain on helpless, vulnerable captives, leads inevitably to further and further cruelty until the ones who do the torture become the very ones they hate.